welcome to the Citizen channel. I hope you're all staying safe and well. And it's match analysis, isn't it, today? We're going to have a look at a City Present feature where we look at the game against Sheffield United on the 30th of January 2021. Of course, a 3 p.m. kickoff, very few and far between, but there's more and more of those, isn't there? So please join me. We'll have a look back at that match and a few little bits and pieces. Of course, we'll have our normal match analysis and a little addition this week. I don't know if you go on Facebook or join any Facebook groups, but a guy called Phil Badges does some wonderful, fantastic match reports, and I sort of read them and save them over months, etc. That he's been doing them, and they're always a good read. So I've asked Phil if I can just quote a couple of things every now and then in my little match summations. So like a big talking point. So the goals, for instance, I'm going to obviously, with Phil's permission, I'm going to just quote his comments on the goal as well in my little summation. So something a little bit different for you. Just and as I say, please, I'll put the details on screen of Phil, but give him a friend or follow or whatever it is. I'm not sure what it is on Facebook, and he does some great stuff. Some not just match reports. He talks a lot about City and talks some common sense, which is always nice. Some, obviously we all sometimes agree, sometimes disagree, but that's how it should be, isn't it? So it calls constructive anyway, however way you look at it. So yeah, give him a look out anyway, and we'll include that today in the match summation. Of course, we'll have the match stats, the Manchester Evening News ratings, my player ratings, a couple different today, but not too much. We'll have the quirky stats, including one or two new records City have set. You've probably seen some of them, but just to clarify those, and some conclusions on the game and Sheffield United, etc. Please, if you're new to the channel, push that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 700 by the end of February. That seems doable. I would like now. I'm sort of trying to push out a little bit. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Obviously, that wonderful 1,000 mark by the end of the season, if we can, by the end of the football season. So if you can help me towards that, that'd be fantastic. Please tell your friends, City supporting friends, about this channel. Get me up to that 1,000. That I would be so grateful and be so tremendous. Thank you very much if you can do that for me. You'll check my little playlist, loads of stuff on City, all different things, quizzes, City history, etc, etc. Check that out. And you'll also see some film and TV channel stuff. If you're not interested, that's fair enough. There's loads of footy stuff, but if you're interested in film and TV, have a look at my film and TV channel as well. I do movie reviews, drama reviews, information vlogs on what's out to buy, and hopefully one day, fingers crossed, what's back at the cinema, stuff like that. So please check that out as well. Or if you're not interested, if you know someone who might be, please point me in my direction and get them to sub if they enjoy it. That'd be fantastic. And I'll leave a couple of links up there, of course, for Facebook and Twitter as well. I do post loads of stuff on there, so I do check every 2 or 3 days. So if you follow a friend me, I will follow and friend you back. That's no problem. All comments, very, very welcome. They grow. As my subscribers grow, I'm just over 650 now. As my subscribers grow, obviously, I'm getting more comments. That's absolutely fantastic. I love it. I love to see a lot of memories as well. A lot of memories coming back for people, especially with the history vlogs. So that's great. And if you can't do it, give us a comment, please. Thumbs up. Let's get those thumbs ups up. So I'm doing really well. But let's. If you can't comment, just give us. It only takes a split second. Give us a thumbs up anyway if you like it. Right, on to the game. Let's get on with it. Yeah, City starting lineup, 5 changes to the West Brom game, which I always worry when we start making 5 or more changes to a team. We seem to lack that fluidity. It did have a little bit of effect yesterday. Obviously, we got away with it, but I think 2-3 changes are fine. But once we sort of start getting up into the 5+, you're talking cup competitions here. You're talking where we perhaps not flow as well. I mean, obviously for the Cheltenham game, we made 10 changes, didn't we, considering the opposition? But yeah, I do start to worry. So 5 changes was a little bit borderline there. Have certainly had me a little bit worried beforehand. The team: Edison, Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Zinchenko, Fernandinho, Gundogan, Bernardo, Torres, Foden and Jesus. On the subs bench: Stefan, Stones, Sterling, all the S's, Rodrigo, Mendy, Mahrez, all the M's, Cancelo, Garcia and Bernabé. Yeah, I got 7 correct, so that wasn't too bad, was it? I got 7 right. I thought I might get 8 or 9, but he did throw a couple of curveballs in there, didn't he, with Stones and Cancelo particularly. Presumably he's thinking ahead of, obviously, to Turf Moor and Anfield, isn't he, and trying to rest 2 of his key players anyway over the last few weeks. Pre-match social media talk, yeah, echoed a lot of what I was thinking. Ed_MCFCV2 wrote, happy for Laporte, Cancelo and Rodri need to be playing though, or well up the Blues. So there you go. So a bit echoing what I was saying. Quare at MM MRMCFC22. Without Cancelo, how are we going to create, man? He's our best creator without KDB. All right, well, I think we've got a couple of other guys, but I can take your point, mate. Jenna McGregor Jackson at Jenna Babes. Yeah, she said, no offence, but Pep, what you doing, man? So there you go. That was quite simple. That's sort of succinct, that, wasn't it? So yeah, so nothing too drastic. Well, a few little raised eyebrows, let's say. And the referee was David Coots. We'll talk about him later on. Assistants Lee Betts, Nick Hopton. Fourth official Jonathan Moss. VAR Martin Atkinson with his assistant Peter Kirkup. Yeah, the match summation and stats. The first 45 minutes. Well, kick off with the one and only quote from the wonderful Mr. Phil Banerjee on 9 minutes about the goal. He wrote, Diaz lofted the ball out to the right. Ampadu's header was poor and looped backwards. Torres seized possession before being tackled by Bogle to the point where he fell to the floor. Even then, Torres managed to hold Bogle and the recovering Ampadu off while he was on the floor, and showing brilliant persistence, he powered through the pair of them. Inexplicably, Basham had pushed up, leaving Jesus unmarked. Torres crossed for Jesus, who with time took 2 clumsy touches to control the ball before scoring. Torres deserves maximum credit for his persistence to capitalise on a catalogue of errors by Sheffield United's defence. Well, we're grateful for that, aren't we? Even keeper Aaron Ramsdale dived the wrong way initially. Well, he committed himself to where he thought the shot was going to go, as he did later on in the game, and it worked that time. Initially, Jesus eventually finished decisively, so well done to him. So yeah, all credit to Jesus here. So thanks to Phil for that little quote on the goal. A little bit more concise to mine. Just a couple of tweaks there I put in. But no, thanks, Phil, for that. Right, then back to the match. 16 minutes, so that's 1-0 for City. 16 minutes on a real chance, other real chance, a poor back header again by Ampadu, wasn't it? Again, it was almost intercepted by Bernardo. But he looked as though he did okay, but then on sort of playback, he looked as though he could have done a little bit better with it, but he didn't put enough on his header, did he, to wrong foot the keeper. Perhaps his mop of hair, I mean, a problem I wouldn't have, obviously. Perhaps his mop of hair cushioned it too much, I'm not too sure. 35 minutes, you got your first shot of the game from Sheffield United, a Brewster effort. I think it was deflected slightly, was it? Straight, ended up in Ederson's arms, which was nice. And the only other interest was 2 foul throws, allegedly. I mean, I'm not sure. One of them looked a bit iffy, the other one didn't look too bad, but one by Bernardo and Zinchenko. It's funny how City always seem to get pulled up for those, isn't it? No other team seems to do that. Then again, I don't watch many other teams, but that's my impression anyway. I'm biased. Yeah, so half-time, 1-0. It was enough at Bramall Lane, of course, earlier on in the season, defensively. Which should be all right today as well with the defence we had out. All right, we had Laporte in there, but he's quite capable. But I did say at half time another one at least, Blues, would be quite nice, because I think we could hold on to it. I did think at half time, but just to be sure, 56 minutes, Jesus got a foot to a Torres cross, didn't he? And he did everything right, Jesus, but obviously just sort of hit Ramsdale and he sort of collected it at the second attempt. But nothing wrong with Jesus' effort. He was sort of stretching for it, and he put it towards goal, which is all you can do. 72 minutes, 2 quick chances after a good move by Zinchenko. Zinchenko lets fly and the keeper saves for a corner, and from that resulting corner, a sort of looping header from Laporte, but again a comfortable save for the keeper. So a couple of quick flashes for City, but they were few and far between, weren't they, really? 86 minutes, so yeah, we knew it, didn't we? He threw on two strikers, didn't he, for the last 15, Wilder, and we almost suffered the sucker punch. My heart give a little flutter as that flex shot whizzed past the post. I thought it was going in. A lot of City fans I've seen on the social media thought it was going in. I thought it was going in, and that's what could have happened. The sucker punch. Fortunately, it flashed wide. Ederson, yes, would he have covered it? Would it have been another 6 inches the other way? Possibly, not too sure. Yeah, Torres was off Rodri on for the 90 minutes just to confirm and complete the game, and it worked, didn't it, for that last 5 minutes? Not much from Sheffield United, but we did have another chance, didn't we, to make it safe. 93 minutes. Again, I was commenting about the goalkeeper. Ramsdale committed himself early on, and it failed for him, didn't it? This time he did exactly the same. He knew where Jesus was taking it, so he started to dive before Jesus had even shot, and it worked this time. He made a good save, but as I say, it didn't quite work out in the first 9 minutes for him, did it, Ramsdale? But a good save nonetheless. Yeah, so there you go, full time. 1-0, and as I said, please seek out Phil Banerjee's full comprehensive match report, which should be on Facebook and various Facebook groups. Right, the ref, I wasn't impressed with the ref. I mean, I've only given 5 out of 10, which is only 1 down on the average 6. I mean, I probably could have given 4. But I just thought it was quite poor overall. It was too quick to pull up City, not quick enough to pull up Sheffield United, unfortunately, in my opinion. I've not seen much of Mr. Coote, David Coote, is it? Mr. Coote, anyway, I'll call him Mr. Coote. I've forgotten his name now. Is that unimportant to me? But I'll give him 5 out of 10. I didn't think he was great. I don't think he gave him City much. I think he sort of leaned towards Sheffield United and say that obviously the throw-ins, it's probably his line-overs as well, were just as bad. But hey, there you go. Match stats, shots 10 for City with 5 on target, 4 for Sheffield United with just a 1 on target. Possession 75% for City, so there you go. Passes 798 for City, 273 for Sheffield United. Completion rate pretty good for City. It looked like that, didn't it, for a lot of the game? 90% completion. Sheffield United just 75%. Fouls, City did 7 fouls. Sheffield United did 10. Probably seen more than that, didn't it? 3 bookings for Sheffield United, though. They did lead the foot in a couple of times. Corners, 10 for City and 0 for Sheffield United. It's not often we sort of keep other teams to 0. Now onto the player ratings, of course. Mr. Bukowski's doing this evening news one. My little views will be afterwards with my little score. It was just a solid team performance, nothing special yesterday, so my starting point's going to be a 6 for this one. So if a player did better, he'll get more than 6. If he did worse, he'll get less than 6. Not complicated. There you go. Right, here we go. We'll start with Simon's thing and I'll do a brief little thing after of my score, etc. Ederson, there was very little for him to do, but he won't mind that, or the accompanying clean sheet that came with it. So he's given him a 7, as I said. Standard. I'll give him a 6 because it was a standard performance. He did what he had to do and that was fair enough. Walker, a few more teething problems as he worked his way back into the side, breaking down some promising attacks with stray touches or passes and being caught in possession. He's given Walker a 5. I'll echo that. He had a fantastic game at Bramall Lane. Man of the match, in my opinion, at Bramall Lane. Scored a worldie, obviously, didn't he? But no, he wasn't good yesterday. But again, he's not been playing often, has he? But I'll give him a 5, the same as Simon. Diaz playing the position that he's seen as his most natural. He was ridiculously flawless. Cut out a number of dangerous situation with ease and bosses everyone around him. We give him a 9 out of 10. I've perhaps been a bit mean, but this is my joint highest score of the day, so I've not gone mad because I said overall I thought we were okay, but Diaz was a monster at the back, and I'm going to give him 7.5 out of 10, which is 1.5 more than the average, but you know me, I'm quite mean anyway, but I absolutely agree with everything Simon said there. Laporte, on his first start in the league since November defeat to Tottenham, he didn't make a mistake. The quality control was highlighted when he effortlessly chested down a 60-yard goal kick to start another attack. He's given Laporte 7. I'm going to give him 7 as well. An excellent game at the back, no problems. Zinchenko played the Cancelo role and played it pretty well, moving in to help Fernandinho or staying wide to link up with Foden. Kept play ticking along and went close with a good effort from distance. He did. That was a good chance. He's giving him 7, Simon. I just give Zinchenko 6.5. I thought he was a little bit better than average, but again, I'm never 100% comfortable when he's on the ball. I always think he'll do something to... He doesn't particularly, but I always think he'll do something to cost us. But a nice 6.5, a bit better than average from me anyway. Fernandinho enjoyed going forward, produced some delightful balls into the box, chipped through. However, his ventures did lead City vulnerable to counter-attacks, and Gundogan has to stay back to cover. That's the fluidity of it, and it's always had that with Fernandinho, hasn't he? And he's not playing as often, so he's not quite going to be as fluid as he has been. So Simon's given him a 7, but I'd give him a 7.5, my joint. I thought he played really well. I thought he looked quite imperious and it wasn't too bad. I mean, other players have to move. If he moves up, other players have to cover. If that means Gundogan has to cover, then fair enough, or one of the defenders has to step up. So I'll give him a 7.5. I was very impressed with Fernie yesterday. Gundogan, perhaps it's unfair to mark him down given he wasn't given as much freedom to get as far forward as he has in recent weeks, but his impact was harder to see. Yes, Simon's given him a 7. I'll give him a bog standard 6. I thought it was okay yesterday, nothing special, just a solid game from Gundogan. Bernardo, everything seems fine when Bernardo has the ball at his feet, and he ran the midfield with his mix of tigerish yet languid running. Didn't manage to create any great opportunities though. No, he didn't, but he was sort of up and down, wasn't he? He was at the back in defence 1 minute, in the middle in attack. So I thought he played really well. I'll give him half a point more than the standard. I'll give him 6.5. Simon's giving him 7, so that's not too bad. But it's one of those hard-working games from Bernardo. It's just a shame he didn't get that header a little bit better, wasn't it? Torres created his first goal with individual brilliance and produced the most dangerous crosses in the second half on his first league start for nearly a month. Yeah, so I'll give Torres a 7. I will give Torres a 7 as well. There's a bit mixed reviews from City fans on Torres yesterday. I thought he did okay, certainly to set up the goal as well. He never give up, did he? And there's 2 or 3 other chances perhaps could have been sort of met better by City players. But yeah, I'll give him Torres a 7. He's one of our better players last night. Foden struggled to make an impact on the left and suffered a nasty blow of heads in the second half. Full of running as usual, but couldn't make a difference in the final third. He's give Foden a 6. Again, I'll give him the bog standard 6. He was quiet, some poor crosses, 1 or 2 okay ones, but a quiet game for Foden. He wasn't really brought into it much, was he? Jesus, the first league goal since November the 8th, great, and he gave City a presence in the 6-yard box that I've lacked without a recognised striker. He did. So he's give Jesus a 7 again. I'll give him half a point more. I thought he got the goal just, and it was okay, but nothing fantastic. But I'll just give him that half a point for the goal. Other than that, he was flitting about really without being too fantastic. And of course, we can't mark Rodri for Torres, can we? Apart from a bit of a masterclass from Pep there, just to tighten it up for the last 5 minutes. City's a man of the match. My man of the match, yeah. I mean, obviously, I would probably say Diaz based on the effort, but because I marked Ferner in the same sort of score, 7.5, I'm going to give it Fernandinho because I'm being sentimental today. So I'm not saying he probably was any better than Diaz, but I think, and he's maybe his last season. I'm going to give it Ferner because I thought in a solid display he sort of led from the front as captain, didn't he? So I think I'll give him the man of the match. That's all we can do. Quirky stats, here we go, some good quirky stats. Up to Joe, only James Milner, 54, and Vassell, 46, have scored in more Premier League games without ending on the losing side than Man City forward Gabby Jesus at 37, won 35, drawn 2. And the great start of the day, probably, Manchester City have won all 9 matches in all competitions in January 2021, the most wins by a team in the top 4 tiers of English football in a single month since the formation of the Football League in 1888. Fantastic. Take a bow, Manchester City. Manchester City have won their last 12 matches in all competitions, the longest winning run in our history. So that's fantastic for City. Well, another great stat. Stat City, today's meeting is the 125th fixture between Sheffield United and Manchester City. The Blues have only played 12 other teams more often than they have faced the Blades. Man City averages 1.33 goals. This was before the game against Sheffield. It's the club's lowest goals average under Pep Guardiola, so that says a lot, doesn't it? Of Premier League teams it has faced at least 3 times. And of course, this wasn't improved yesterday. Well, it would have dropped slightly, wouldn't it, with only scoring 1 goal yesterday. This is the 4th occasion that Gabriel Jesus has scored the only goal of the game in a 1-0 victory for Manchester City in all competitions. Interesting. Pep Guardiola has now amassed 401 Premier League points as manager of Man City. That's 26% of Manchester City's entire points haul in the competition, 1,494, despite only taking charge of 172 matches. That's just 18%, so there you go. Pretty impressive. Jesus' opening goal for Man City was the 650th goal scored under Pep in all competitions. That's 265 matches. That's not bad going. Gabriel Jesus has now scored 74 goals in all competitions for Manchester City, the same amount that Carlos Tevez managed for the club. Gabby Jesus netted his 40th goal at the Etihad Stadium, becoming the 6th different player to reach that amount of goals at the ground. This moves him into the top 5 table of goal scorers, level with Yaya Toure, so he'll pull ahead, no doubt. Today's clean sheet was Ederson's 83rd clean sheet for Manchester City in all competitions. Well done. Some of the headlines around the media, etc., just a couple today. The Scottish Herald, I'm just trying to pick, I mean, some of them are quite boring, aren't they? The Scottish Herald, Manchester City reaped the benefits as Manchester United failed title test. So they always get United in there. And the Telegraph, slow and steady approach, see Holt's extend lead at the top. That's what we want more of. And a little quote just from Gabby Jesus as well, interviewed after the game. He said, with our last Premier League title, we won a lot of games like this, 1-0 at home with a beautiful goal by Vincent Kompany, for instance. Sometimes it's like this. If you want to be champions, you have to work hard in tough games and win the games. That's all. That's all, folks. Yeah, absolutely spot on, Gabby. Yeah, my little conclusion. before we finish today. Yeah, not the most exciting of games, but against a very, very physical, sometimes overly physical Sheffield United. I'm not happy with that side of it. City did dig in and battled, and though chances are few and far between, we managed to get one in them, didn't we? Very early doors as well, because if that game had gone on longer and longer, it would have got harder and harder. Sheffield United would have probably threw more tackles and got more men booked probably, but there you go. But we made one count, didn't we? And that's all that matters in the end. All right, it wasn't perfect by any means, but Gabby was there. He was 5 yards out, 6 yards out. He scored the goal, and that's what we want from a striker, don't it? And still, despite the transfer window closing, we still haven't bought anyone, have we? So we're going to have to make do, aren't we, with what we've got? I can't see anything changing in the next 24 hours as I'm recording this, or at the end of today as I'm recording this. So yeah, this is at least he was there, didn't he? At least Gab was there to put it in. And of course, whether it's Laporte and Diaz, or Diaz and Stones, which I think is the main guys, Diaz and Stones, with the defence clocking up clean sheets and the Hoover in the background there. Please forgive obviously my good lady for doing the housework there. I mean, like I'm doing this, she loves to do that. So there you go. I can't stop it. It's not my fault. Anyway, with the defence clocking up clean sheets for fun, absolutely fantastic. I mean, we should be able to win more games 1-0 perhaps, but just for our hearts, just make it a little bit better. Despite Sheffield United Wilder's claims that he had no real plan, his plan was basically what a lot of teams play against City: try and hang on in there. If they can keep it to 0-0, fantastic. If they can keep it just to 1-0 down, still fantastic, because what they'll do is try and sneak something in the last 10 or 15 minutes, and that's exactly the plan Mr. Wilder had, and it's not rocket science. That's the plan a lot of managers have when they come to the Etihad or they play City at the home ground. So yeah, we nearly suffered it. We nearly had the sucker punch. Would we have come back from that so late in the game? Probably not. We would have ended up 1-1. But we were, look, the football gods shined down on us, didn't they? I mean, that flex shot just flashed past the post, even though many of us thought it was going in the net. I certainly did. But overall, City held firm. And we deserved the 3 points. I mean, no matter what anyone says, no, I don't think there's any luck in it. I think we deserved it. We battled hard. And despite that late scare, we did okay. As far as Sheffield United, yeah, I mean, as I say, there was elements of their game I didn't like yesterday. There was elements of the game I did like. That approach, that physical approach, can be good, and they're going to need that because there are a lot of points behind, aren't they? They are struggling, and the chances of them staying up at, I think, the 1 to 10 on when I looked at the odds the other day to get relegated. So they're going to need far more of that, perhaps with a little bit of skill involved, as well as the toughness as well from Sheffield United. And we'll see. It'll be very difficult. I still can't see them maintaining the Premier status, but you never know. I think they've got 7 games now where 5 of them against teams up and around, down and around, not up and around them, down and around them. So let's see how they go. But we'll probably know by another 7 or 8 games whether Sheffield United are probably doomed. But it doesn't look good at the moment, does it? But as I said, I wasn't happy with the physicality, overly physicality yesterday. So yeah, do I want them to stay up? I'm not overly bothered, to be honest with you. No offence to Sheffield United, but yeah, I quite liked how they played last year. They were physical last year, but they had a bit of quality to them as well, and obviously defensively were far sounder. But yeah, I'm not overly worried either way. It's what we do, isn't it? It's what City do I'm more worried about at the moment. And say let's we've got a couple of tough games. I mean, especially when we got Anfield next week. But it's nice to go to Anfield knowing it's not desperate need to win, and we'll still be top because we've got games. We've got a game in hand, or we've got the points in hand, etc. But let's get Burnley out of the way first. As we say, let's tackle them first. Let's do something there, because if we go there and fail, then obviously it won't really matter much, will it? Anyway, thanks for joining me for this match analysis. Of course, I'll be back with a preview of that Burnley game, which takes place on Wednesday the 3rd of February. I wrote January down here. 3rd of February 2021. And please check out my Citizen stuff, including a programme watch from the Carabao Cup game against United. And there's also... that was the week that was my little family-friendly fun quiz for covering the Cheltenham and West Bromwich Albion games, so look out for those. And very soon there'll be episode 3 of the one City show, so please look out for that. With lots going on in the world of media around City, a couple of interesting things that I've just spotted that perhaps haven't been widely publicised. Anyway, thanks for joining me for this big match analysis. Whatever you do this day, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More importantly, let's all look after each other. Until we meet again here on my Citizen channel, or perhaps you flit across, please have a look at my film and TV channel. Wherever it is, all I ever ask of everyone out there, please stay safe, Blues. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.